WWRR, Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, WMMZ, Berwick, Bloomsburg, Hazleton, WYCK, Plains.
Powered by Mohegan, Pennsylvania.
The River, 105 and 103.5.
This is Music on the Menu on the River.
Timothy, where on earth did you go?
Featuring Northeast PA's best artists.
Maybe, never mind. She can move me like the stereo, like a song on the radio. She's an angel in the morning, yeah, that's right.
And now, here's your host, Alan K. Stout.
So I got that going for me, which is nice.
All right, everybody. Happy Sunday night. Welcome to Music on the Menu on the River. Alan K. Stout with you as I always am. Sunday nights, 9 to 10, bringing you regional artists from northeastern Pennsylvania doing their own original material. Hanging out with D.C. Taylor. D.C., how are you, man?
Good, Alan. How are you?
I'm doing just fine, and I'm excited about tonight's show. As we told you last week, when we played a couple of tracks from Joe Burke, we told you last week he would be our guest tonight, and he is here. So welcome to Music on the Menu. Joe, good to see you again.
Thanks very much, guys. Very happy to be back.
It's always great to have you back. We are big fans of your music, and we appreciate the fact that whenever you record or release a new track, you send it our way because we love to get it on the air. And so this is sort of a culmination tonight because some of the tracks that we'll be playing at the top of the program here, we may have debuted them months ago. But cumulatively, once you had 5, you released them as an EP recently.
Yep.
Matter of fact, that just dropped on December 23rd.
Yep,
correct?
that's right.
And so, we're going to play them all. We're going to talk about them all. We're going to talk about Joe's songwriting. We're going to talk about the band, which has evolved a little bit since the last time you were here. We'll talk about the upcoming show at the Kirby Center, which was supposed to happen on the 23rd, but is now scheduled for March. And so we got a lot to talk about throughout the hour. But let's get right to the new record, Joe. It's titled Still and Still Moving. It's comprised of 5 tracks. Anything different that happened in your approach? I know you did this record with Paul Smith down at 8 Days a Week Studio because I follow you on social media, so I saw your posts of you in the studio and so forth.
Some of it there. Actually, I would say the majority we recorded at a studio called Red Convertible Recording in Brooklyn.
Okay. Was Paul the mixer?
We had done for the 5th track on the EP, which is Wiser Blood, we had done the vocals and the drums with Paul.
That's where I probably saw the photos from.
Which was before the pandemic. So that was kind of a hangover track from.
Oh wow.
Yeah, from that period before. And then the other 4 on the EP were done in New York.
Okay.
Though with Brett Alexander producing, and then Ricky Barati from that studio in New York and Kieran O'Leary were the 2 that engineered and mixed it.
So you did Summit 8 days a week, a lot of it in New York. Paul was mixing some of the tracks, or did Brett mix the tracks? I'm always interested in the production side of music. So
me too.
Maybe I dive into these questions too deeply.
No, me too. In fact, on Spotify, there's something you can do now for an artist like myself. You can input a lot of information, but I like to look up. There's a field where you can look into song credits and who produced things and stuff like that for songs. So I'm interested in it myself. But there's 5 songs on the EP. The first 4 were engineered and mixed by those guys
in New York.
The 5th track was recorded between Brett and Paul's studios, and Brett would have mixed and mastered that 5th song.
Well, collectively, it's a terrific EP. We played every song as they came to us. We played the last 2 last week. The other 3 we had been playing for a couple months, some of them. And so we're going to play them all for you right now as we periodically throughout the program talk with Joe about this new record. This one's called Neon.
Sinking in something everyone else
the songs that came on as we drove on through dustland. With nighttime brought calmness, and we felt more honest to mention our uneasiness and what we used to love. We'd offer up the places where we used to feel alone. And I've had plans to get away. I'd rather be tonight than to get away. And that comfort is on through my hometown. We'll see what comes on now. And I won't rush to say when I tell you that I've been haunted by the fate of who I claimed I never was. And all of this was heavy till you called in from the road. But I've had plans to get away. I'd rather be tonight than to get away. And that comfort is a lie. I won't try to run away. My God, are things alright? I won't sit and wait for the dark that comes at night. And all of it came at once, the cold breeze of the pleasure and the begging. And I'll find a place I want, a state I want, and nothing can erase. But I've had plans to get away. I'd rather be tonight than to get away. That comfort is a lie.
Joe Burke and Company here on Music on the Menu with a song called Plans. And before that, Joe Burke and Company with a track called Neon. Both appear on his new EP, Still and Still Moving. Now, we talked about the recording on the last break. Joe, he did most of the record in New York City. Brad Alexander produced a little bit of work with Paul Smith on one of the tracks. This band has evolved. You know, we've known you now for about 5 years. I think we started playing you on the show around 2018 when we got some of those first songs, Gray and August.
Yeah.
Some of those tracks that we still play.
Yeah.
At that time, Joe Burke and Company, correct me if I'm wrong, was yourself, Brett, and AJ Jump. Brett Alexander for the most part.
Yeah, I think the End Company, I mean, this is like how privileged I am to be able to play with the kind of musicians that I do. I think the End Company started because it was always someone different playing. Now AJ, as
he's been there,
and has become is incredible, you know, in his talent and vision and things like that, and has become, you know, a brother in the process. But he's been certainly a constant. And in the early going, Brett played some gigs, though sometimes it was Rob Husty at that time. and Mark Keisinger as well, who's played bass on a lot of these tracks, and is incredibly talented himself.
I've known Mark for a long time, going back to the Mere Mortals and Underground Saints,
Yep.
Bent Blue, and all those great bands that he's been in over the years.
Yeah.
But now the band is, at least for the time being, yourself, Rob and Tim Husty, and AJ Jump. So talk to us a little bit about what it's like working with those guys on a regular basis.
Almost don't know where to begin. I've had the chance to play with Rob and AJ kind of for a while now, but just like those guys, Tim I had always admired as a musician a lot. I mean, he can kind of do it all, as it seems to me, and so I think with like these new songs and then even going back to the older ones, it's you're getting in some senses somebody's take on them, but they're all trying to bring them to life and make it a cohesive thing. And I think that it's just great to have that kind of talent all working towards sort of one goal, which is just a good, kind of rock band sound.
It's a terrific band. AJ, done so much session work with Brett at Saturation and bands that he's been in. And we're fans of the Husty Brothers here on the show. We've played their 3 Imaginary Boys tracks. They've been here with us, did some shows live with us and so forth. So when I saw that band coming together for you, I was excited for you.
Yeah.
I knew you had some great players and not just players, but people that can contribute musically as well.
Yeah. And great people
to the writing process.
And great people to work with, like just solid individuals. And then I just want to throw in Stephen Murphy from Modern Ties has played with us a lot and brings a lot of energy always and is an incredible talent himself.
Yeah, he's been here with us many times.
Yeah. And Nick Driscoll would be the final, who's been a multi-instrumental guy in a lot of ways.
Yeah, some great people.
I mean, it's an incredible group.
The End Company is great company.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Let's play another one from Joe Burke and Company. This one's called Wiser Blood.
Slow burning midsummer's dim, dreams lost with the warmer winds, and the state of apprehension has shown me, but your love can start to fade into only far away, a cloud, a mist, safely going gone. Seeing all the lights that have led you through each night, find if everything still could change. Stretching out your arms as you sense in the alarm that the world won't wait for you now. Good words are as good as bad. Time hurts, we're assured of that. There are actions worth the strain of no foresight. Some accept and some they can never be right. Wiser blood is rising now, and you're feeling old. Seasons past were filled with plans, futures to be done. Seeing all the lights that have led you through each night, find if everything still could change. Stretching out your arms as you sense in the alarm that the world won't wait for from the woods where I went down, and where the dark enshrouded a trace of any step. Some is the same and some is not. I'll make a list of what to see my belly left. I know forever is a change that never fades. After the flood, forget the rains. But where do I go now with miles left to highway? Lost because things go. Maybe then I drive away. Sitting now as I try to sit my way back to before this. Months off and I paid the sleeping salt. You know the cost of both was lower as a kid. Thought on what you said to prove me wrong, to see it's not a bomb and all that mattered then. I know forever is a change that never fades. I'll hope I'm where I'm meant to be. But where do I go now with miles left to highway? Lost because things go. Maybe then I drive away. Sitting now as I try to sit my way back to before this. Not as traveled as a rolling stone, hitting and out again for so long, so long, so long. Where do I go now with miles left to highway? Lost because things go. Maybe then I drive away. Sitting now as I try to sit my way back to before this.
Joe Burke and Company here on Music on the Menu with a song called After the Flood. And before that, Joe Burke and Company with a track called Wiser Blood. All those tracks, all four that we've played so far this evening, are from the new EP, Still and Still Moving. Joe, let's talk about the songwriting. I know you've been a guest on the show a couple of times before, and I've asked you about what inspires you to write, because I always love asking songwriters that, but particularly to this EP. You know, you said some of it predated the pandemic. The world has been pretty crazy the last 2-3 years.
Amen.
For everybody. As an artist, is there anything that's affected you, that's inspired you to any particular events or topics that shaped your songwriting?
I don't know if... I think that answer could be different depending on the song. I don't ever feel that I'm writing a group of songs. I'm always only just writing one at a time, meaning it's kind of a closed universe.
It's not a concept album. It's a collection of good songs.
And where like one thing I say in one song, I may say something contrary to it in another, which I think is sort of just how we all are sometimes. You know? But I mean, like with your work with the documentary, which we were talking about off air there, After the Flood is, I mean, the term the flood means something very specific to people around here. And, you know, I grew up and live in West Pittston, so the 2011 flood was the flood. It's not about that really, but it's sort of about the idea during the pandemic. Someone that I admire, I heard them talking to the community of West Pittston, and this was early on, and they were saying, I hear a lot of people talking about the pandemic and wondering when are things going to go back to normal. And he said, but after the flood in West Pittston, we didn't figure out how to go back to normal. It was how do we move forward together, knowing how we've been affected by this thing. And so I think that's what I was going for in that song, where generally the idea being that you can't often pretend like things didn't happen. Yeah. You have to try and understand how you've been affected by them and try and move forward within that. So that's like one example, to what we just listened to.
It's almost like that expression, this is the new normal.
Yeah.
I mean, the old normal is gone.
Yeah, yeah.
And, after the flood this is our reality now.
Right.
So how do we and this is how we move forward.
Yeah, yeah.
Really interesting. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
Let's play another one from the new EP. This one's called Setting Sun.
You look around like you heard a sound. Start reaching out like they're counting down. Somewhere between every changing wind, there's a kind of reprieve, but it's there and gone, yeah. In upstate there is a girl. We cut ties and make the mornings work in South Switzerland or Perth. There was someone waiting, wouldn't run and fake it. Do you believe that every setting sun is pulling away because it's had enough? Call her today, she's by the phone, ready getting up or staying down. You're seeing ghosts up above the street, and you're singing songs but avoid the meaning. Don't know your way, don't know if you got everything you need. Colder sheets and room to breathe, hardly giving you to anything. It happens every day. Long nights can kill the morning's work. And think back to every age. Heavy arms are scraping your knuckles on the pavement. Do you believe that every setting sun is pulling away because it's had enough? Call her today, she's by the phone, getting up or you think it's a dream. You let the pencil run off of the page to make the feeling wrong. losing track of how to keep calm. Tied to correspondence. Restless heart, my only constant. A long pause amid the chaos. The kind of smile that could save us. In the best way, or did I ask on the wrong day? Brief and quick to the point now, hoping she'll help me somehow. Find some peace in the season, changing leaves, endlessly late. Patiently by my desk with a pencil, paper, and wandering thoughts. Will I be waiting for such a long time to see that she'd never be mine? Will I find that there's something more to a first glance? Through a window, it's sundown. You wave me dressed down to the ground and smiles awfully sure and long. Shuddered with a sense of rhythm. Counted ways that I could overcome. A slow retreat from an honest bed. She hasn't even answered yet. Keep my sense towards a true north. Solid risk could be reward. Iffy but introspection convinced me to put my sense in. Like the treetops and contact. Serious if you're about that. Now I wish I could rewind this exact moment in time. At first glance through a window, it's sundown. You wave me dressed down to the ground, then smiles awfully sure and long. Oh, in no way am I playing in some game, loving just knowing your name. But I hope to hear from you soon. Our first glance through a window, it's sundown. You wave me dressed down to the ground, and smiles awfully sure and long. Oh, no way am I playing in some game, loving just knowing your name. I hope to hear from you soon.
Joe Burke and Company here on Music on the Menu with a song called August. And before that, Setting Sun from the new EP, Still and Still Moving. And August is one of the first tracks that we ever played from Joe here on the show, going back about 5 years ago now. Joe, we were talking about it off the air when you first came in. You, myself, DC, just talked about, did you have a good holiday? How was your New Year's? How was your Christmas? Everybody had a good holiday, which is great. The only thing was a little bit of a bummer was it on December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas, your show with the Badleys and Dustin Douglas and the Electric Gentleman was postponed because of freezing roads. It wasn't, the snow wasn't that bad. It just got real cold and iced up. And so a lot of events were canceled, not only your show at the Kirby, some stuff that was going on here at the casino. I know some other bands around town that were playing the clubs. Everybody bailed that night. So it was a wise thing to do.
Yeah.
The
definitely.
good news is it's rescheduled for March 25th.
Yep.
And so we've got a couple of more months to look forward to the show. How do you feel as an artist, and especially as you said earlier, growing up in West Pittston, so you're from this area, so I imagine it's a venue you've been going to your whole life, to be playing at the Kirby? Because that's kind of our, in Wilkes-Barre, that's our little Madison Square Garden. I think that's the venue everybody would love to play someday. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it, and I feel like I've said the same thing repeatedly because I think it's true, but that it's just a thrill, in all the respects that you kind of just outlined. That being from here, the Kirby Center is an institution. And like last January, I saw a favorite artist of mine, Jason Isbell, and the 400 unit play there. And like that's one thing that's crossed my mind is that playing on the same stage that he and his group just played on.
Yeah.
So, and there's other artists that I've seen there too that I'm thinking that,
Who are some of your favorites that have played at the Kirby that you could think of off the top of your head?
Well, he's number one right now. But I think that maybe like due to recency, like I just saw him and that was a gift for my dad's birthday that we all got him tickets to see that. And we went with some family friends. So he's at the top. I saw Dawes play there.
Oh, that was a good one. I mean, I've seen Bob Dylan there. You go back to the Paramount groups like Kiss and Rush played there. I saw, Diana Ross played there. Like all these George Burns, Rodney Dangerfield, Jerry Seinfeld, outside the music world. It's the kind of a hallowed stage here in northeastern Pennsylvania. And of course, being able to be on the bill with Dustin and the Badleys. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, and that same feeling about them. I became close with Brett, and through working and just kind of friendship in general, became a fan of his, and then by extension the Badleys, and then I would say even by extension Dustin Drevich, and yeah, I mean it's an honor to be supporting with Dustin the Badleys, for their own record release.
I found an old interview that I did in 1997 with Brett when the Badleys played there for the first time. And I pulled it out. I have a file at home with all my clips, so it's not difficult for me to find old stories. They're filed under B, So, there was actually the Badleys have their own file because there were so many articles.
I'm sure.
And he said, it was interesting. He said, I've always really wanted to play there because I've always loved the way the room sounds. And it is, magnificent acoustics. And so we are looking forward to seeing you with AJ and Tim and Rob up on stage and Dustin Douglas and the Electric Gentlemen and the Badleys on March 25th. And I see it as, the postponement was a bummer, but it gives us 3 more months to talk about it here on the show. So thanks for sharing your thoughts.
Oh, of course.
On being a part of
Can't wait for it.
Will be a terrific night of music. Let's play another one here from Joe Burke and Company. This one's called Gray, one of my favorites.
Chasing time like I've got some to waste. Writing rhymes thinking they'll fix my pace. Praying hard I put the great love on it. Great love on my road. Selling my confidence in childish ways. Timidly searching through the blue and the gray. But I get lost in what I am saying. Quarter past and I want some kind of peace with the sun in a street love. And I'm uncertainty abounds in my eyes. I say she's right, but it still helps me decide. Oh, tangled up in searching each day. Caught a pass and I want some kind of peace with the sun in the street love. And I may see tries to believe that I'm fine and not so tall. There's no place like home. Standing on colors go and I get lost. In the silence, oh yeah, I shake from my pulse. Up to the open air, and in the quiet, oh yeah, I shake from my pulse. Up to the open air. And I'll see tries to believe that I'm fine and not so tall. There's no place like home. Standing up, colors go and I get lost. And I'll see tries to believe that I'm fine and not so tall. There's no place like home.
Joe Burke and Company here on Music on the Menu with a song called Roads. Love the drumming on that track. I remember when AJ sent me that, or you sent me that about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
I really love what he does on that track. It's really cool stuff.
Me too. I think he builds like tension in the verses. And, does some kind of random tom hits. Yeah. Love all his playing.
Cool stuff. And before that, Joe Burke and Company with a song called Gray. We're going to keep the music rolling now with Joe Burke and Company. This one's called Fire.
crushed hope in fortune's favors holds on so tight. Too young to know what love brings to all those braver. He'll chase the hype. He's counting demands with the sense of alright. This is fine, yeah. He's willing to dream of a contrasting sight, not confine it.
Joe Burke and Company here on Music on the Menu with a song called Fire. And before that, Joe Burke and Company with a track called Roads. It's always a pleasure to have you here in the studio with us, Joe. I'm a big fan of you, your songwriting, your vocals, the way you sing, the thoughtfulness of your music. I love everything about what you do. And so thank you for coming and hanging out with us here tonight and letting us share some of your tunes with our audience. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. And I have to say the same in return to Alan and DC, both of you guys, for the exposure and the opportunity to get the music out there in this way. And the endorsements of it from you guys means a lot.
Thank you. Thank you. Where can folks that are listening tonight find the music? Usual platforms? Yeah,
the usual, wherever you stream your music, you can. And then Instagram is Joe Burke _co. Facebook is Joe Burke and Co. And I think those are the main two that I would see people using. But YouTube and Bandcamp, same tags there. The other thing I'd want to say, if I could really quickly, is that for the song Plans, which we played at the top, I think, of the show, Will McHale, who's a local artist in a lot of different ways, but he created and directed and filmed the video, which is on YouTube for that. So
yeah,
Plans,
really cool.
Yeah,
great stuff.
And he did. We're incredibly grateful for the work he did. So
well, check that out too. Go to the Instagram, go to the Facebook page. You can download the music there. Check it all out. And again, we'll see you at the Kirby Center before you know it. It'll be here before you know it. March 25th. Leaving out with, thanks, Joe, for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Leaving out with another one from Joe Burke and Company. This one's called Oak Tree. We'll catch you next Sunday night.
Mine moves in the midst of an early horizon. Sun shines on the bits that have always been hiding. Shed signs of residual mess like an oak tree. Up straight, I can barely see over the dead leaves. So long, I'm sorry I'm stuck here. I cannot explain the reasons they're rising from under. I cannot escape. Brother, the changes in passing of time, 1,000 frustrations moving my mind. I'm at an age where I wanna have found some kind of rage that is forcing me out of the middle of this. to speak.